All right, so welcome to this restorative yoga and yoga nidra workshop. It is 90 minutes. My name is David Ito. Thank you for joining in. This is going to be a really special and unique combination of yoga techniques because they combine, and together they allow us to go in so much deeper into this de-stress, stress release effort that we're coming into. So that is the point. The point is to allow our bodies, but also our minds, and emotionally speaking, spiritually, we are trying to let go of tension, of tightness. All right. So that's why when we combine these two yoga techniques, it's even more powerful. All right. So, welcome to you all one more time. And I'm just going to start by saying that restorative yoga is a type of yoga where we use a whole bunch of props. I'm going to be talking about the props just in a minute. And so with these props, the goal is to help us stay in these poses, in these stretchy poses, where we're able to release the tension from the body, from the muscles, and we do that with ease, with comfort. And I really want to highlight this element of ease and comfort because that is an integral part of the practice, where we're able to hold the poses, the stretches, for longer than we do in traditional vinyasa or hatha yoga or even Iyengar yoga. So we're holding them for quite long, and that's why we need to be comfortable, and we need to make sure that we are not going in too deeply. All right. So for those of you like, alpha, like very competitive people out there, this is a great way to train ourselves to go in slowly. All right. Because after a certain period of time, you will start noticing the muscles are lengthening. All right. And if we went in too deep, too fast, it would start becoming uncomfortable. All right, so that is the first kind of philosophy behind restorative yoga. It helps us to restore because it's very effortless and we're able to go in deeply, calming the body and the mind. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about yoga nidra, restorative yoga for now. And then about yoga nidra. Yoga nidra is really a meditative practice. Nidra means sleep in Sanskrit, but we definitely don't want you to fall asleep. All right, the goal with yoga nidra is to go into a very deep state of conscious relaxation. So here I want to highlight the word conscious because the goal is to stay aware, conscious, mindful throughout the practice. If we fall asleep, if we go over that threshold, then we're kind of missing out on this new muscle that we want to be building. In science, in psychology, this is called the hypnagogic state, where we are just before the state where we fall asleep. In that hypnagogic state, the yoga nidra state, we are able to allow so much of what gets stuck, those emotions, those memories, a lot of the stuff that gets trapped inside of us from our life, from our past experiences, from our past lives as well. It gets trapped. And with yoga nidra, we allow ourselves to let whatever needs to come out into the surface, those bubbles of emotions, memories, whatever it is, to come out to the surface so we can process them, because we want to process this stuff. If we don't process stuff, it gets stashed, it gets tighter, it gets like ingrained, and then it's heavy baggage that we're carrying around. So we want to travel life with more ease, with less baggage, and yoga nidra allows us to do this effortlessly. All right, so it's a very gentle approach towards this. All right, so when we combine the stretchy elements of restorative yoga in a very calm state, and then we weave in certain elements of yoga nidra, and then we switch over into yoga nidra, then combined together, it is so much more powerful. So that's why I'm combining these two. I'm not the only one. Other yoga teachers in the country, in the world, are starting to do this. This combination is kind of a novel thing, and I'm just really happy to be able to bring it to you guys. All right. Do you have any questions so far regarding the these two elements, restorative or yoga nidra. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself. Otherwise, we're going to continue. We're good? Okay, awesome. So, all right. So before we start with the restorative and the yoga nidra, we typically do very gentle movements. These are not even called poses. So I ask you to come to sit. And if you're lying down, Ed, I guess you can stay in bed. But for the rest of us, just come to sit. And before we start moving around, we're going to review the props that we're going to be using today. So we need to have 1 or 2 blankets. If it's not a blanket, you can also use a large towel. And then we're going to be using 3 cushions or yoga bolsters. So I have the big bolsters, but not everybody has bolsters. So I actually decided to get the smaller cushions because this is more similar to what most of you guys are going to have at home. So try to have 3 of them. And then we're also going to use a pillow. All right, so we're going to use a pillow in a moment. So right now I'm using what pillow, blanket, 3 bolsters or cushions next to me. We're going to be using these to help us enter into these restorative yoga poses. All right, so have those around at arm's length. All right. For those of you who are watching this as a recording, you can pause the video and then grab the stuff and then come back. All right, so once we have Casey says no sound. Can the rest of you hear me okay? Yes, thumbs up. All right, Casey, so I think the issue's on your side. All right, so we're going to start with some gentle movements. So let's find an upright seat. All right, so an upright seat, cross your legs. If for whatever reason your knees hurt and you need to extend a leg, by all means, go ahead and do that. All right, and so we're just going to start to align the spine. Bring your ears over your shoulders over your hips. Bring your hands soft on your knees or thighs. Just relax the shoulder blades down, finding that long spine. Let's start closing the eyes or keeping a soft gaze in front of you. Lengthen the spine a little more. If you notice your head is leaning forward, can you tuck the chin in just slightly until you find a little more length in the back of the neck? Fingers are soft and relaxed. Relax the jaw. Feel lengthening in the spine, but also softening throughout the body. All right, so we're going to start with some breathing exercises. So let's just inhale through the nose, into the chest. The belly expands, the side and the back, and then open the mouth inside out. Again, inhale deeply through the nose, into the chest. The ribs, the belly, the sides and the back expand. Exhale. Notice the softening effect of the exhales. One more, just like that. Deep inhale. Exhale completely. All right, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to bring the left hand and bring it underneath the right armpit rib area. Just leave it there. And then other hand comes around, crosses over under the other armpit. Just find a way so this feels comfortable. If you need to reposition the hands, you go ahead and do that. Make sure your spine is still long, shoulder blades down, neck is long. All right, so this is very calming. Just keeping your hands like this helps to balance the right-left hemisphere of the brain. All right, so just drop the shoulder blades down. We come back to the breath. Inhale deeply for 1, 2, 3, top of the breath. Exhale, side out. Again, inhale, 1, 2, let the rib cage expand. 3, top of the breath. Exhale. Whichever hand is on top, let's lift that, remove it, and then bring it underneath the other one to switch the crossing of the arms. There we go. And then drop the shoulder blades down. Inhale deeply for 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax those shoulders and the belly. One more time. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, top of the breath. Exhale. So calming, so soothing. You can do this anytime, anywhere. All right, let's release the hands. Let's start to roll the shoulders. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears, then roll them backwards and then down. Inhale, shoulders forward and then up. Exhale, back and down. I'm going to go sideways so you can see me better. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. One more, forward and up. Back and down. Change directions. Inhale, back and up. Exhale, forward and down. Back and up. Top of the breath. Exhale, forward and down. All right, let's move the neck. We're going to do some neck rolls. Bring your hands behind you. You can interlace one finger, two fingers. Make sure that this is not painful. If your shoulders are really tight, keep your hands low. If you can bring your hands a little bit higher up the spine, you're going to get a deeper shoulder stretch. Drop the shoulder blades down. Neck is long. Let's take a deep inhale. On the exhale, we drop the chin down and we lengthen the back of the neck forward. Hold it here. We're lengthening the neck. Inhale. Shoulder blades down, elbows forward a little bit more. Exhale. One more time. Deep inhale. And exhale. On the next inhale, right ear to right shoulder, lengthen the neck, shoulder blades down. On the exhale, drop the chin down, nice and easy. Inhale, other ear, other shoulder, lengthen the neck. Exhale, drop the chin down. One more on each side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chin down. Inhale, lengthen, other side. Exhale, chin down. Release the hands, lift the head. Bring your hands back onto your knees. Let's start moving the spine a little bit. On the inhale, we open up the chest. We lift the chin up and we tuck the tailbone backwards, open the front body. On the exhale, we start to round the spine. Belly in, tailbone forward, chin to chest. Coming back, we call these cats and cows. Inhale, open the front of the body, tailbone back. Exhale, pull the belly in, round the spine, chin to chest. Let's continue like that. Few more rounds by yourself. Let's make this a self-study practice. So really tune inwards and notice what your body's telling you. If there is something going on, like the neck is tight, the shoulder is tight, just make sure you're not pushing yourself too hard there. This is a gentle movement. This is a way to start releasing the muscles in the front and the back, to bring a little more lubrication into the spine. Couple more. Inhale, we open the clavicle, collarbone. Exhale, broaden those shoulder blades. One more time. Exhale, round the spine. All right, we come to stillness, neutral spine. So these movements are just very basic, very gentle ways to start to bring some movement into the spine. Also, because for some people, if we go straight into restorative yoga, into a restorative pose and hold it, they feel like there's still too much tightness and it's actually uncomfortable to hold the poses. So before you do any of these long held stretches, it's good to move just a little bit. Okay, so a few words about restorative yoga. So the approach, as we said before, is really important. The approach in restorative yoga is to go gently. All right, so this is not competitive. You're not supposed to feel something super intense. And for many of us, intensity equals I'm getting something out of it. So let's not do that. Let's deprogram, let's rewind and remove that from our brains. Here, we're not seeking intense sensation, especially during the first minute. You might feel like this is a little too easy. That's actually okay. That is fine. All right. So do not seek really intense sensation in these stretches, because that's why we're going to use the props to prevent us from going very deeply. So just change the approach. You know, the optimal intensity in yoga nidra, for those of you who like numbers, I would say 50%. 50% intensity in what you're doing. So it's not that intense. All right. The second element in restorative yoga is setting up properly. Taking your time to set up is key, because if we don't understand the setup, if we don't do it properly, then during the pose we're going to have to come up, readjust, and then come down again. And actually most of us will have to readjust somewhat. It's just that the less we have to readjust our props, the better. All right. And then the importance of the breath during the poses. The breath here in all types of asana yoga, the breath is key, especially in restorative yoga. When I said it before, we're not going to feel things so intensely because we're not allowing ourselves to go in so deeply. But once we're there in that 50% intensity, more or less, the breath, allowing yourself to really breathe in deeply and exhaling completely, is what's going to make the entire difference. All right. So can you please remind yourself to tap into the breath and see how those deeper inhales and longer exhales actually allow you to sink in, to go in deeper into the experience. All right. So those are just the three things that I wanted to share, because they make a big difference in how we enjoy and approach restorative yoga. All right. So we're going to start with for me, my favorite restorative yoga pose, which is basically a supported bridge pose, but it's also called commonly slope asana. All right. So for this one, we're going to be on our backs. But before you start moving, just look at me and see how I set up. All right. So for this restorative bridge, we are going to try to create a bit of a slope situation. And that means that I'm going to bring 2 bolsters or 2 cushions at the bottom of the mat, and then 1 towards the middle of the mat. My legs, my calves are going to be on these cushions, and then my hips, my sacrum is going to be on top of this one. All right. And then if your floor is soft and padded, great. If it's not, if you are kind of on a hard floor or just using a thin yoga mat, use already one of the blankets to spread it, because I don't want your hips and your shoulders to get a little uncomfortable afterwards. So pad your floor if you're only using a thin yoga mat. All right. So don't let the padding don't let that stop you from getting comfortable. The softer the surface, the more cushy it's going to be for your shoulder blades, your hip bones, your spine in general. So do yourself a favor and already do that. If you need to, you can just prepare your floor so that it's a little more cushy, a little more padded. All right. And then we're going to use either another blanket or a pillow for underneath our head. Now, a note about pillows: make sure that you don't have a very thick, firm pillow. The pillow should be a little bit on the softer side. If it's not, then just use your blanket. All right. So there we go. We are coming onto that. Have your second blanket handy. All right. Have your second blanket handy, because we are going to cover up with it. So as you come to sit on the floor, you're going to lift your hips and bring your butt, your sit bones on that one cushion, and then bring your legs over the pile of 2 cushions. So again, readjust, move things around until you find yourself in this situation. Then using your hands on the floor, bring your elbows down, and then slowly roll the spine down and readjust. Maybe lift the hips a little bit. Make sure that the bolster or the cushion is right under your glutes, not under your lower back. All right. And then we can use the pillow or the folded blanket as a rest, a padding for your head. And then we're going to use the blanket. This part is optional. If it's a little chilly, we can use a blanket over our bellies, over the chest. It has a very grounding effect on us. All right, so just allow yourself to get comfortable, move the hips a little bit. Please make sure that your lower back is free. This is a lower back release pose. So we want to make sure that the lower back is not being pushed onto with a cushion. Let's lengthen the legs a little more. Let's lengthen the arms out into the sides, palms facing up. And make sure that your hands, the back of the hands, are not on the bare, hard floor. All right. If the hands, just move them in a way so they're either on a yoga mat or on the carpet. Make sure that the hands, the knuckles are not on hard surface. All right. So we're going to lengthen the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen the head away from the shoulders, maybe even move your head side to side a couple of times. Make sure your palms are facing up. Make sure your shoulder joints feel spacious. Let's close our eyes. Let's start dropping the jaw. Relax the cheeks. We allow ourselves, we allow our bodies to just sink in to inwards. Allowing the abdomen to relax. Maybe you can part your lips. And immediately notice if there's tension in the neck, there's tension in the shoulders. Notice if you can already start to relax those muscles just by setting the intention. In restorative yoga, the goal is to relax ourselves very much. This is a form, a modality of yoga. It's considered effortless in the body, also effortless in the mind. We're not trying to process ideas. We're not trying to ask ourselves if we're doing this right or wrong. We're practicing just release. Especially try to relax the abdomen, the intestines, the digestive system. Just feeling your body. Noticing the sensations throughout your body. Noticing the sensations in your feet, your toes. The calves supported by the cushions. The knees, the thighs, the hips supported by the cushion. The spine, the space between the shoulder blades on the floor. The belly, the abdomen rising and falling, breath after breath. Allow your chest to relax. The clavicle, the collarbone to broaden just with gravity, allowing it to open up. Notice what your body's telling you. Notice if your body is telling you that I'm really comfortable, or if I need to adjust something. If I need to stretch that one leg out a little more. If I need to move my head a little more to get a little more comfortable into this position. So these are not completely static positions in the sense that after a few breaths in the pose, we want to allow ourselves to readjust the body because something just gave. As the muscles relax, our bodies are able to lengthen. So if you need to lengthen that one arm out, that leg out, the neck, the shoulders, please reposition. Once you've done that, just allow yourself to sink into the floor one more time. Noticing the weight of the body on the floor. Noticing how your body's able to relax a little bit more, breath after breath. Be noticing the lengthening of your lower back. We hold restorative poses somewhere between 3 to 5 minutes. So it's important that you always feel comfortable. If the body gets a little twitchy, just move that shoulder, move that knee in a way so that it doesn't distract you anymore. And then you allow yourself to sink in a little bit more. Breathing normally. Giving yourself the authority, the opportunity to release that tension, get stuck inside of the body. Allowing yourself to free yourself from the tightness, from our day-to-day activities, from the stress, the anxiety, the information, sensorial overload that we're exposed to these days. Just allowing ourselves to find some peace, some quiet, some me time, some self-care time. Some even call this a radical act of non-doing. Radical because it goes against the flow of what we're supposed to be doing, busy, producing, achieving. We don't realize how important it is to just be in the here and the now. How healing it is to just be and observe ourselves. Couple more breaths here. This is an inversion. In yogic, energetic terms, when our hips are higher than our heart, we consider this an inversion. Inversions are very calming for the nervous system, as you probably feel by now. The blood flow accumulating a little bit more on the chest, the neck, the head. Kind of that fuzzy, warm sensation. It also helps us to rebalance energetically the chakra system, the vortexes of energy along the spine. As we change the order, now the lower chakras are above the higher chakras. And this creates a balance, allowing us to bring more harmonious flow of energy throughout our body. And every time we come out of a restorative yoga pose, we take a couple of deep breaths. So let's start inhaling a little bit deeper. A little more air. A little more air. And we exhale it. With the as we release what doesn't serve. So this is the purging part. So let's make sure we're doing this right. Inhale deeply. A little more. A little more. With intention, we purge and we let go. All right, let's roll over onto one side. Doesn't matter which one, just roll over slowly, coming onto your side. And then bring both hands on the floor. Push the floor away to lift ourselves back up. All right, so we're going to be using this same setup, the two bolsters or cushions, and then the one here. This time, we're going to set it up. And so look at me, we're coming into a supported reclining butterfly pose. A lot of words, but this is what it means. Now we're going to be laying on top of this, and this is creating a kind of slope. So we're going to be using that slope under our backs. All right. So I keep the two here. Then depending on what you have and how high they are, you might have to bring it on top or just below it. But basically what we're going to be doing is coming to sit in front of those bolsters or blankets. But before you come down, listen up, please. We're going to grab our towel. We're going to roll it. All right. We're going to roll it in to create a tube. Start creating a tube with that. And we're going to leave the tube pretty much in front of our legs. All right. So now bring your legs over that tube. Grab that extra pillow and place the pillow on top of the two bolsters or cushions. All right, so just look at me how I enter this. I'm going to bend the knees and slowly place my lower back against that one cushion and slowly roll back down. Spine comes down, shoulders come down on the cushion. The knees stay bent for now. Then we bring that extra pillow and place it under your head. It's very important that the head is supported so that the chin doesn't pop up. So really feel your neck. If your chin has popped up, you need more props under your head. All right, so slowly come down and then read your body, read your spine. All right, so your tailbone and glutes are on the floor. Your lower back is supported by that one cushion. Your shoulder blade supported by the rest of that slope, and your head supported by the pillow. Now, from the bent knees, we're going to open the knees wide towards the side, and we're going to use that tube to help us stop the intensity of the opening of the legs. So if your blanket is not thick enough, maybe you can use other props like books, yoga blocks, but basically we want to open up the legs, soles of the feet together, drop the knees open, but remember it's about 50% intensity. All right, so prop up the outer sides of the knees if you need to. Make sure it's not more than 50% intensity. And then we're going to extend the arms out, palms facing up, extend the hands out, and then just drop the elbows down. Make sure the back of the hands are not on hard floor. And again, we're going to reposition the neck, move your neck a few times side to side to make sure that your neck is comfortable. This is a gentle lower back bend, and it's a heart opener. So we are going to start focusing on the opening of the chest. As you've entered this pose, if you notice that this is not comfortable, ask yourself, what can I do to make this comfortable? This should feel comfortable. All right, so reposition if needed, extend the legs out a little bit more or a little less, you decide. Make sure your chest is open. We're trying to get that gentle chest opener, gentle back bend. Relax the face, relax the lips. Maybe part the lips, relax the jaw. We're trying to find opening in the front of the body. And once you found your entry point, once you found a way to feel comfortable, let's start breathing again through the nose into the chest. The belly expands. Sip in a little more air. A little more air. And let's make a big let your body sink into the shape. And then we set the intention to drop the shields that we carry, the shields that we put up, the walls that we put up to protect ourselves, because it is a challenging world. But this is a safe space. This is an opportunity to open up, remove the shields, just relax. Notice the collarbone opening. Notice the chest opening. Notice if you need to fix or change anything about your shape right now. If it's chilly, maybe you can grab that second blanket and cover yourself up. Maybe you can extend the arms out a little bit more to find that little more opening in your shoulders, in your chest. So we're going to use some visualization that we typically use in Yoga Nidra. We're going to start already visualizing. Let's start visualizing a golden ball of light right on top in front of your chest. Golden luminous light. Sparkles, rays, healing light. And with every inhale, you're going to invite that light to slowly enter into your chest, into your heart, your lungs, your rib cage. And allow that warm, healing, golden light to enter your heart and chest. As you do that with every inhale, you're able to expand the light so that all the rays and the particles of light can enter the entire chest. The thoracic spine, the space between the shoulder blades. Your chest is full of golden, healing, warm light. With every inhale, you're able to strengthen that light. Every exhale, you're able to purge and release what doesn't serve. Whatever got trapped in the heart. So set an intention to soften the chest, to remove those shields, so the healing, purging golden light can help you remove and process, to free you, to liberate you from whatever it is inside that no longer serves your best interest, your health, your connection to yourself, your evolution, your growth. Let's take 2 deep inhales. Inhale through the nose into the chest, ribs. belly. A little more air. A little more air. Exhale. Let the body relax. Let go. One more time. Deep inhale. A little more air. A little more air. Exhale, side out, letting go whatever doesn't serve. Slowly, with the use of your hands, we're going to bring the knees back together. Bring the heels in a little closer towards your sit bones. We're going to roll over onto a side very slowly. Use both hands to push your chest back up. All right. Let's remove the blanket, the rolled up blanket from underneath us. If it's rolled, we're going to come into a supported child's pose. This is going to really get a really nice stretch in the lower back, hips, glutes, bit of the hamstrings, but also a stretch at the knee and the tops of the feet. So for those of you who have bony knees or sensitive knees, I recommend you use one of the blankets for padding. All right. So this part is optional. If that is you and you want to use some padding for your knees, just fold that blanket any number of times, place it just under under the extension where the bolster finishes, and then bring your knees wide on it, bring your big toes to touch, and then slowly we're going to bring the prop, so one bolster towards you between your legs, and then bring the other ones on top. All right, so here we want a higher tower of props in between your knees. So this is the entry point towards this pose. All right, so then slowly bring your hands on the floor, lengthen the spine, and slowly bring abdomen over the props, and then the chest over the props. Depending on the size of your props, maybe your forehead can rest on the props, or if not, turn your head to the side. In either case, slowly enter it, reposition in any way that feels right for you, forehead down or cheek down, and then drop the elbows on the floor, palms facing down, broaden the shoulder blades, maybe wiggle your hips side to side a few times to really find your shape, something that feels right and comfortable for you. Close your eyes and let's just relax here. Repositioning neck is very important, especially if your neck is tight. In child's pose, the goal is to find more opening in the back. Let's take a deep inhale together. Inhale into the chest, the back ribs, the lower back, the pelvic floor. Exhale, relax the shoulders down. Again, one more breath. Inhale deeply. A little more. Side ribs expand. Top of the breath. Exhale. Maybe widen those elbows so you can bring a little more weight on your chest on those props. Finding the right position, especially for the neck, is very important. So take your time to get there. This time, we're going to visualize golden light in the hip joints. Notice the sensations in the hip joints. And we're going to invite a golden ball of healing light in the hips, the hip joints. So many undigested emotions get trapped in there. The connective tissue, the fascia, the ligaments. As we start to breathe a little bit more towards the back body, because breathing forward is challenging in this pose. we realize that we can breathe backwards. We can breathe towards the back body. But for that to happen, you have to relax the muscles in between the ribs. You have to relax the waist muscles. So invite yourself to relax them so that as you inhale a little more, you can feel the expansion in the lower back. Maybe you can even feel the friction of the skin on your clothing. Maybe you can relax your belly a little bit more and really feel how your body's getting heavier and heavier on your props. Learning how to breathe into the back body is quite challenging for beginners. This is a perfect opportunity because we have the time to practice that. So as you notice how your belly, the abdomen expands forward, also allow the breath, the air, the expansion to move into the side body and the back body. If you turned your head to one side, let's lift the head slowly and turn your head to the other side so that we get an equal stretch of the neck. Go ahead and do that now. Take your time to reposition the neck. Maybe you need to reposition the shoulders, the elbows. Once you've done that, we come back to our breath. Deep inhales. Breathe into the back body. Exhale completely. We practice the muscle, the skill of letting go. We live under this impression that we can control things. Controlling things for our advantage, for our comfort, our ease. And even if the ultimate purpose is a good one, thinking that we can control everything probably doesn't lead us on a very good path. So we just practice acceptance. In yoga, we call this santosha. Acceptance of what is. Acceptance of our bodies, of ourselves. Acceptance of whatever it is that your experience is, whatever your body, your mind, maybe your heart is telling you right now. This is key to learn how to let go of that unnecessary control. Accept that we're bound to the laws of physics, that we're grounded to the earth with a pull of gravity. So tell your muscles to just relax and allow this pose, this stretch, this shape to happen gently. You really feel the muscles along your spine lengthening breath after breath. The intercostal muscles, the muscles in between your ribs to stretch breath after breath. The glutes, the hamstrings, the back of the thighs. Feel the stretch in the knees, feel the stretch in the tops of the feet. Allowing yourself to just relax, to luxuriate in this perfect moment that you've carved out for yourself of self-care, self-love, self-preservation. We're going to take 2 deep breaths. Inhale with me towards the back body. A little more air. A little more air. Exhale, side up. Let something go. One more time. Inhale deeply. A little more air. A little more air. Exhale. We're going to use our hands on the floor to press the floor and slowly, very slowly lift the chest back up. All right. Slowly come to sit and then extend the legs out. We're going to shake them off a little bit because for many of us, this was very intense on the knees. So just extend the legs and maybe you can tap the knees up and down just slowly. You can windshield wipe the feet side to side a few times. Just to bring a little more blood into those legs that we've stretched for almost 5 minutes. All right. So we're adding a little more intensity into this practice. So we stretched the front of the body, we stretched the back of the body. Now we want to stretch the legs. We just stretched the front of the legs. Now we're going to stretch the back of the legs and the lower back. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. So this is a straddle forward fold supported with everything you have. This is time to make that pile as tall as it goes. For most of us, we're going to need something maybe chest high. We're going to open the legs to the side. So let me show you how it goes. So open the legs wide. For some of us, already this is going to be really intense. So if you already know your hamstrings are very tight, you might want to lean against a wall. If already sitting up straight is already really intense for your hamstrings, come and lean against the wall, against the bed, against the cabinet, against anything to help you keep yourself up. All right, so do yourself a favor. You could be leaning against the sofa. All right, and then let's bring all these props in front of us, again, in between our thighs. And then we pile up more stuff and more stuff. However many things you have, you pile them up. All right. And then we're going to bring our hands on top, lengthen the spine. I'm going to go sideways so you can see the approach. It's not about rounding from the get-go. It's about lengthening. So I really want you to think, I want to lengthen my lower back so that as I start to bring my hands on the props, my elbows forward, I'm really feeling stretch in the lower back. And then either cross your arms and then bring your forehead down and then lean forward a little bit more and relax. Or turn your head to the side. This is really about finding what works for you. And so, if possible, try to bring a little more of that chest on the props so that it makes it a little more supported if you're able to do that. And then, once you've landed, keeping your legs straight, your toes pointing up, just make sure that your forehead and your neck are supported. We do not want to overstretch the back of the neck. All right, so find your position here. Let's relax the shoulders. Let's relax the elbows. What can you do to make this a little more comfortable? So play around. This pose does take fine tuning, especially for those of us with tight legs, tight lower backs. And we ask ourselves, what else can I soften? Do I need to reposition my neck in a different way? If you don't need so many props, maybe you can start removing some of those props. But again, this is restorative yoga. This is about finding that 50%. So what can you do? Just find a very comfortable forward fold. Even if traditionally you can for those of you who can bring your foreheads all the way to the floor, this is a humbling practice. What does it feel like to not go so deep? And we'll keep breathing into the back body. Every few breaths, maybe we have to reposition something. And we breathe into the back ribs. Breathe into the lower back. Breathe into the kidneys. The kidneys are in that region that we're working on right now. The kidneys are key, are vital for our endocrine system, hormonal system, detoxification system, to clean the blood, to remove the waste from our blood. So let's start breathing into that part of the back. From the lower back to the beginning of the ribs, halfway, more or less, kidneys are there. So let's bring the golden ball of light to that part of the body to help us detoxify. Invite golden luminous light to your lower back. Every breath you invite the light to enter, to shine inside of you, to help you remove waste from the body, the metabolites of our stress. Breathe into the back body. Allow those legs to stretch, those hamstrings. What else can you do to make this more comfortable on yourself while still maintaining the form? Stretching the hamstrings. So important to prevent lower back pain, lower back tightness. Our lower backs, our necks, our shoulders, they get so tight from our overuse of technology. The shoulders round, the head is forward and down looking at your phone, your keyboard. That brings extra pressure on the middle of the back and the lower back. Exactly what we're trying to lengthen right now. To keep sending your healing breath and intensifying the light, the golden luminous light in that part of the body. Bring some loving kindness into the body parts that get so much tension and tightness day after day. If you turned your head one way, one cheek the one way, please turn your head, bring the other cheek down so you get an equal stretch of the neck. Slowly, and then relax back down. Maybe by now, you've started to really enjoy this slow pace stretching. You start to notice the real advantage of doing things slowly. It helps us to calm the nervous system down so much more than other forms of yoga or stretching techniques. Few more breaths here. Really feel the expansion, the lengthening happening breath after breath. Let's take 2 deep breaths. Inhale deeply into the back body. Exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. Exhale. All right, slowly, hands on the floor. Push the floor to lift the head and chest slowly back up. All right, let's move the props to the side. Extend the legs forward and shake them a little bit again. Moving the feet side to side. We call this windshield wiping, tapping the knees up and down a few times. All right, so let's come into twisting. There always should be a twisting pose in a restorative practice. So we're going to twist the spine. And we always leave this for last because we're twisting the entire spine. All right. Before it was just one part or half of the spine. Now it's the entire spine. All right. So we're going to come into a supported supine twist. What that means is we're going to come on the floor, bend the knees, slowly bring the elbows down, and then roll the spine down. We're going to open our arms wide. We're going to lift the hips. We're going to sway the hips to one side. Let's start with the right side and then drop them down. This is how we reposition the spine. Then we lift the knees up and we drop the legs to one side. But before you do that, we're going to use 1 or 2 bolsters, all of us, even if we know we could go deeper. And let's place that in between our knees. All right, so 1 or 2 to find that 50% intensity. And then we're going to drop the shoulder blades down. Make sure your shoulder blades are on the floor. If, for whatever reason, even if you're using props in between your knees, your one shoulder is not able to drop to the floor, you can use either blanket, cushion, or other prop to support that arm. We do not want to have an arm kind of hanging out in space. All right, so let's just review for everyone. We bend the knees, arms out into a T position, lift the hips, hips to the right, and then drop them down. Lift the knees to chest, and then both legs, knees bent to the other side, and then grab 1 or 2 props. Place it in between your knees, and then drop the shoulder blades down. All right. We want to keep our thighs 90 degrees to our chest. The thighs 90 degree to our chest. This is very important for the safety of your lower back. And then maybe propping up that extended arm to make sure that both arms are supported. Lengthen the neck. Maybe pillow under the head if that feels good. That's optional. Pillow under your head, and then close your eyes. And we sink in. Let's take a deep inhale. Inhale through the nose into the chest. Belly expand. Top of the breath. Exhale. 50% intensity, not more. Inhale. A little more. A little more. Exhale. And we're going to hold it here. Just relaxing. Maybe repositioning shoulders. If you need to reposition the hips so that your spine feels straight and spacious, you go ahead and do that. Maybe dropping the jaw, parting the lips, and let your spine twist gently. After a few breaths, for those of you who already have quite a lot of mobility in your spine, range of motion and twisting, if by placing props under your knees or in between your knees doesn't even give you 50% and you would like to go deeper, only if that's the case, we're going to Extend the bottom leg all the way out and down the mat, and just keep the top knee on top of the cushions. So we still want padding support for the top leg. Now notice, if you did that and your shoulder blade came off, maybe it wasn't such a good idea and you want to come back to the previous form. So be humble and allow yourself to not go too deep. And we breathe. For some of us, this feels really intense. We're stretching half of the body, basically, from the knee, the outer thigh, the abductor, the IT band, the glute, piriformis, the waist, the lower back, the abdomen, middle of the back, chest, shoulder, bicep. Even part of the shoulder is getting stretched. If you notice that somewhere along the parts that I just called out, something starts to get really intense, ask yourself, what can I do to soften or to support that body part? If the shoulder's starting to complain, can I reposition the shoulder or prop up that arm? Or come into a gentler form. You don't want to go beyond 50%. We're wringing the entire spine. This is one of the most intense stretches in the book. We're going to take 2 more breaths and we're going to switch over to the other side. So inhale with me. A little more air. A little more air. Inside out. One more time. Deep inhale. A little more. Exhale. Let something go. We're slowly going to come out of it by slowly bringing the hips on the floor. Then bend knees, both feet on the floor. Reposition spine. Let's come onto the other side by lifting the hips off the floor. Hips to the other side. In my case, it's the left side. Drop them down. Arms stay in a T position. Lift the knees towards the chest and then drop the knees to the other side. 90 degrees, thighs to chest. And then grab 1 or 2 props and place them in between your thighs, your inner thighs, your knees. Make sure your shoulder blades are on the floor. We enter slowly, gently. Lengthen, reposition, adjust. So important to adjust the shape and the props. And once you've done that and you feel that this is comfortable for you, we start to let go, soften, disengage those hip muscles, disengage the shoulders, the neck, the tongue, the feet, the hands. Let this other side of the body release the trapped tightness, tension. We're trying to reprogram our bodies Through this soft, gentle approach, we calm the nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is our ally. The other side, the opposite side, is the fight or flight. Here we want to relax, rest, heal, digest. Keep breathing. The breath, an integral part of our practice. Noticing the effect as you reach the top of the breath. And the release on the exhale, bottom of the breath. If this is already 50% for you, maybe you want to stay here. If it's not even 50%, you might want to extend the bottom leg out. Then make sure that your upper legs stay supported. Relax, lengthen, readjust, and sink into the pose. Let the forces of gravity pull you down gently. Body scanning. Noticing the effect of the breath on the pose. Noticing if you can relax your shoulder muscles a little bit more, your neck, your hips, your thighs, your abdomen. Most often than not, there is a muscle that is being contracted involuntarily. And so once you identify it with your intention, with your will, you relax it a little bit more, allowing this stretch, this release to happen gently. Breath after breath. We're going to take 2 deep breaths. Deep inhale. A little more air. A little more air. Exhale. Let something go. One more time. Deep inhale. A little more air. Exhale, side out. Slowly, we come out of it by bringing the hips back down. Bend the knees, plant the feet. And we move the props to the side. From here, let's lift the knees, grab the knees with your hands. If you have a pillow under your head, remove it. And then slowly pull the knees into the shoulders, knees wide. Feel your sacrum lift, your tailbone lift. You're pulling the knees, and now we're gonna rock side to side slowly. We're massaging the middle of the spine, the space between the shoulders slowly. After that intense twist, we want to give our lower backs some movement to bring the blood flow again, to juice it up, lubricate it, to rinse off any residual intensity. All right, let's roll over onto one side, come into fetal position just for a breath. Then you use both hands, slowly push the floor, lift the head, lift the chest, and we come back up. All right, so we come back up, and this is time for a break. And those of you who need a mini break to go to the bathroom, to grab some water, to stretch your legs, please go ahead. I realized that I am going much over time. I think my estimate of how long this was going to go was not so accurate. But if those of you who can stay, please stay a little bit more. I know the intro was almost 15 minutes, so we're gonna come back in a couple of minutes if you need that break. Otherwise, those of you who do not need a break, who do not need a water break or bathroom break, we can just lie down and kind of just let everything sink in Shavasana. All right. So for those of you who need a break, go ahead for a couple of minutes, grab some water, stretch your legs, and then we come into Shavasana. So those of you who are not taking that break, if you have any questions of the restorative part that you want to ask now, we could go ahead and talk about that. Otherwise, we can talk about it at the end of the practice. All right, so we're coming into the Yoga Nidra section. So as you already probably feel this section that we just finished, this restorative yoga was already very calming and healing and soothing. Now we're going to add an extra layer with Yoga Nidra. All right, so I'm not going to go deep because we've already gone over time. I'm not going to explain the details of Yoga Nidra, but I do want you to start thinking of an intention. Intentionality is very, very important in Yoga Nidra because we're basically setting an intention into your consciousness so that it trickles into your subconscious and unconscious mind about something that you want for yourself. So just take a moment to really think, what am I working on in my life right now? What do I want for myself? We're just setting intentions. They could be long-term, they could be short-term, whatever it is, something that you want for yourself. So just think about it and just acknowledge it. This is what I'm working on, and we're just setting that intention. All right, so once you have that intention, we're gonna come onto the floor. Again, it's about finding a comfortable situation, position, experience. So grabbing either blanket or towel, and then optional, your legs can be on a pile of bolsters or blankets, but not your hips. Your hips should be on the floor. We need the spine to be flat, like in Shavasana. Optional, but highly recommended, use a folded blanket or pillow under your head for padding of the head. And then, of course, also it feels really nice to have something on top of your body. So decide if you want any of those three options: legs on bolsters, blanket over the body, head on something for padding. All right, so here we have two options. You can either extend the arms out, palms facing up, or you can bring your hands on your upper body, the chest, the abdomen, the ribs, somewhere where it feels good. Make sure your shoulder blades are broad, your elbows are comfortably on the floor, and you find spaciousness. All right, spaciousness. So make sure your joints feel spacious. All right, so now that we've set that intention, the element of intentionality, we come back into this deep state of relaxation. And we allow ourselves to just feel the ground. Feel the weight of your body on the floor. Feel the shoulders grounded. Notice if you need to reposition the neck or reposition the shoulders. Notice if your neck is neutral, your chin is not popped up. We're going to start with a body scan exercise. But before we do that, the second intention that we're setting is to not fall asleep. So tell yourself, repeat after me, I will stay awake I will not fall asleep. We want to get to a very deep state of relaxation without actually falling asleep. All right, so now I invite you to bring your awareness to your right foot, the sole of the right foot, the top of the right foot, the big toe, the second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. What are the sensations there? Temperature, air current, blood flow. Now bring your awareness to your right ankle and heel, the right shin, the right calf, right knee, right thigh, right hip, right glute, right hip bone, right waist. Now we bring our awareness to the left foot. Sensations in the sole of the foot, top of the foot, the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Bring your awareness to the sensations in the left ankle and heel, left shin bone, left calf, left knee, left thigh, left hip, left glute, left hip bone, left waist. Now we bring our awareness to the tailbone, sacrum, lower back, middle of the back, space between the shoulder blades, tops of the shoulders. Now bring your awareness to the pelvic floor, to the pubis, lower abdomen, belly button, lower ribs, chest, collarbone, shoulders. Now bring your awareness to the right hand, palm of the hand, back of the hand, the right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and fifth finger. Bring your awareness to the right wrist, forearm, right elbow, right upper arm, armpit, and right top of the shoulder. Now bring your awareness to the left hand, palm of the hand, back of the hand, the left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and fifth finger. The left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, left upper arm, left armpit, left top of the shoulder. Now bring your awareness to the back of the neck, back of the head, crown of the head, the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyelids, eyes inside of the eye sockets, the cheeks, the cheekbones, the lips, nose, nostrils, teeth, the tongue, the throat, the ears, the inner ears, sides of the neck, front of the neck, back to the chest, back to the abdomen. Now we bring your awareness into the navel belly button. Notice the rise of the belly button on the inhale and the softening on the exhale. Now you're going to count 11 rounds of breath by yourself backwards. That means 11 inhales and 11 exhales. So start counting 11 rounds of breath by yourself, focusing on the sensation of the navel. You can start now. If you lose the count, just come back to 11. Tell yourself, I will not fall asleep. And slowly let go of the counting of the breaths. Let's take a deep inhale together. Inside out. Feel the vibration of the sound throughout your body. Now we're going to come into an exercise of sensations. Visualization, feeling, sensations. So I want you to start imagining that your body becomes very, very heavy. Your head gets heavier on the floor. The shoulders and the arms are heavier on the floor. The hips, the legs, the feet, everything got really heavy. Everything is being pulled down. You wouldn't be able to move it if you wanted to. The body's so heavy. Mother Earth is inviting you to become heavy. And now we're going to tap into the opposite. Start noticing the lightness inside of you. The lungs are spacious. The joints are spacious. The jaw is relaxed. Your body is floating in air. You can barely feel gravity. You are floating off the floor. There's air inside of you. You're floating. Spaciousness throughout your body. And now suddenly we start feeling heat. It really got hot. You can feel heat in your armpits, heat in your neck, heat in the inner thighs. Your entire body got really hot. Like you're near a burning furnace and you feel that intense heat. The heat in your hands, the heat in your mouth. Everything got really hot. All of a sudden it got cold. Can you feel the cold temperature in your fingers, in your skin? Your face got cold. You got chills on your back. Your body's cold. So cold, like you went into a freezing river. Like in snowy mountains, the cold that blows onto your face. Your entire body just got cold. And now we're going to start feeling some level of physical pain somewhere in the body. Remember a part of your body that hurt. Wherever it is, can you focus on the sensations of the pain? What does it feel like? Can you recollect all the details of that pain? Can you remember how those sensations of pain, discomfort expanded throughout the nearby organs and body parts? Now, all of a sudden, we feel immense pleasure from something, from the taste, something you ate, that tasted delicious, something you heard, beautiful music, something you saw that you touched, something that gives you immense pleasure. Just tap into that. Something joyful, pleasuresome, makes you feel ecstatic, amazing, pure joy, deep pleasure. And we let go of that. We come back to our body, our normal body, here and now. Safe space, comfortable space. Now we're going to come into a rapid image visualization exercise. So when I call out an object, just visualize it. There's no need to think. There's no need to process. Just visualize it. And I'm going to go one after another. Once I see a new one, just let go of the past one. All right, so let's start with a beautiful sunshine. Imagine in the screen of your mind, what does a beautiful sunrise look like? Beautiful sun rising. And then a humid leaf, a green leaf in the dawn of day. Little droplets of water on the leaf, the beginning of a day. Now it's a bunny hopping from bush to bush. A bunny hopping from bush to bush. Now it's a cat approaching a bird's nest. A cat approaching a bird's nest. Ripples of water on a quiet lake. Ripples of water on a quiet lake. The crackling sounds of a fire pit. Crackling of a fire pit. golden fish in a water tank, swimming in circles. Golden fish in a water tank, swimming in circles. A golden ring at the bottom of a well. Golden ring at the bottom of a well. Two squirrels playing in a park. Two squirrels playing in a park. A thunderstorm approaching. Thunderstorm approaching. A butterfly trapped on a spider's web. Butterfly trapped on a spider's web. An open door. Open door. A clear blue sky. Clear blue sky. The sound of Om vibrating inside of you. The sound of Om vibrating inside of you. And we let go of those objects, those images. Now we start a journey together. You are at the top of a staircase. The staircase going down. There are 10 steps that you will walk down. So let's start taking the first step down. Second step. Third step. Visualize your feet. Fourth step. Fifth step. Sixth step. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Both feet have descended the staircase. Now you look up and you see a golden door, shining golden door. Reach your hand and open it. As you open that door, you're going to cross the threshold. And where are you? You are in a space of nature. But look around. What do you see? What do you see? What does it look like? What elements of nature are there? Look around. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Can you hear sounds? Can you smell something? What's the temperature? Is there a breeze? Are you alone? Just try to pick up as much information as possible. You're just looking around, observing from your stance. All of a sudden you see that there is a path. It's not very clear, but it seems like there is a path. Let's start walking down that path. Feel the feet walking. Hear the sounds of the steps. Keep walking, observing left, right, up and down. As you keep walking down the path, what else do you see? All of a sudden, you notice there's an obstacle. There is an obstacle in your path. It's a big pile of rocks. Big rocks. You need to go over it or around it. So you decide, are you going to climb over these big boulders, big spiky rocks? Or are you going to walk around it, even if it's a bit of a long walk. Decide which one and go ahead and overcome that obstacle to get to the other side. Visualize, see yourself doing it. See yourself making it to the other side of the obstacle. And as you come onto the other side, you notice there is an old wooden house with a porch. You start to approach it. Seems like it's calling you, but it seems like no one has lived there for a long time. So as you approach it, there's a few steps to go up the porch. And then from the porch, there's an entrance door. You're going to open that door and you're going to cross that threshold. What does it smell like inside? It's actually quite dark. But you slowly, your eyes get used to the darkness and you start to make out, to understand what's inside, what's where. You notice there's a hallway. At the end of the hallway, you see there's a beautiful wooden chest of drawers. Look at the details, beautiful. As you get closer, you notice there's light coming out from one of the drawers. Like golden light, yellow light. So you open the drawer and inside, you start to notice an object that you've actually seen before. That object there, grab it, feel it. Don't think about it, just move it around. What is it? What does it feel like? Do you remember where you saw this before? You soon understand that this object is a gift for you. So it's yours. You take it with you. And now we're going to turn around. We're going to retrace our steps. So slowly, let's walk back down the hallway, out of the house, down the porch. Slowly go over that pile of rocks or around it. Slowly walk back the path, that beautiful natural landscape. You realize this place is your magical place, your sacred place. This is a place just for you. And you see the door, the golden door that you came out of. Open the door and slowly close it. Just realizing you went to a very magical place. Now we have 10 steps, staircase, slowly walk up. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth step. Keep walking, step by step, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You made it all the way up the staircase. And now you bring your awareness back to your room, exactly where you are. Let's take a big breath. Notice the body. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice your room, the space you're in. Notice the sounds in the room, the sounds outside of the room. Coming back to the here and the now. Coming back to this material world. And slowly, let's take 2 deep breaths. Huge inhale through the nose into the chest. ribs, belly expands. And we sigh it out. One more time. Deep inhale. Top of the breath. Exhale. We slowly start to circle ankles and wrists. Slowly move your head side to side. Lift the arms up and overhead for a full body stretch, lengthen, and then release the arms back down. Don't come up yet. Roll over onto your side. Roll over onto your side slowly. Come into a little ball fetal position on your side. Let's take a breath here. Deep inhale. Side out. And slowly use your hands to press yourselves back up one more time. All right, so we come to sit, or if you want, you could actually stay lying down. Up to you. So that was the end of the Yoga Nidra practice. And to seal our practice, we are going to chant Om. So you can chant with me, or you can just listen in. This is a way to seal the energies and to seal the intention that we set for ourselves. So let's take a deep inhale together at top of the breath. Chant with me. We bow the head forward and down. And we say namaste. Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. This is the end of the Yoga Nidra practice. So for those of you who want to stay around a little bit more, I know we've gone much over time, but those of you who want to stay around and ask questions about the practice, share. It's also very therapeutic to share what happened, especially during that last journey, because it is a way to bring back whatever happened in the dream world, in that subconscious world, and bring it back to our consciousness. That is part of the processing, of part of, reconnecting the conscious to the subconscious, which is an integral part of our Yoga Nidra practice. All right. So if you cannot make it any longer, by all means, have a wonderful rest of your evening. For those of you who want to stick around, I please encourage you to do so. I am here. I'm not going anywhere. Namaste to everyone. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for coming. Thanks so much. Those of you, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So those of you who also got the recording, I am going to be sending the recording as soon as we finish this one, this part here.